Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So if you're thinking about studying internationally, and maybe more importantly, turning that into a real career launchpad, well, you know the landscape's complex.
It really is.
We've gathered a ton of material policy papers, economic reports, visa breakdowns, the works, and our goal today is pretty clear. Cut through the noise and give you the strategic insights.
Hmm.
Which countries actually deliver on both top-tier education and solid post-grad work opportunities?
Yeah, that's the absolute core shift we're seeing in all the source material. Starting abroad, it's changed. It's not just, an academic journey anymore.
Right.
It's fundamentally an investment strategy. You're not just picking a uni, you're picking an economy, an immigration system. It's very career focused now.
And there's a quote that just nails this from Dr. Rahul Chudaha. He said, "Students no longer choose where to study based only on the quality of the education. Now, the options for work after graduation are what defines global competitiveness."
Exactly. That quote sets the stage perfectly.
So that's our filter today. We're looking at everything through basically three lenses. How good is the education really? Are there actual jobs in growing fields? And crucially, what are the real options for staying long-term, turning that degree into a life?
Okay, let's dive right into the map of opportunity then. Based on the data, we've sort of grouped the top spots into tiers, focusing specifically on those career benefits baked into their policies.
Right, makes sense. Let's start at the top, Tier 1, what the sources are calling the clear pathway to residency countries. These are places where the government actually seems to want skilled grads to stay.
And Canada is the poster child here, the world education magnet. Yes, great degrees, recognized everywhere, often cheaper than the US or UK.
Hmm.
But the killer feature, the real reason it tops these lists, it's the post-graduation work permit, the PGWP.
Okay, let's pause on that acronym because it's vital. PGWP, what is it exactly in practical terms?
Think of it as your dedicated landing strip after you graduate. It's an open work permit, meaning you don't need a job offer beforehand specifically for eligible graduates. And it can last up to 3 years.
3 years, okay.
And critically, having that PGWP experience is almost always required for the main economic routes to permanent residency, or PR. Canada isn't just hoping you'll stay. They've built a structure, a 3-year window, for you to get the Canadian work experience needed to apply for PR, especially in fields like tech, healthcare, engineering. It's predictable.
And that predictability is huge when you're planning your life, right?
Right.
Okay, who else is in this Tier 1? Australia seems to be right there with Canada.
Yeah, Australia is a strong contender. It's a great career launchpad, lots of research focus too. Their big advantage seems to be the length of their post-study work visa.
Longer than Canada's?
Often, yeah. Depending on your degree level and where you studied, you could get up to 4 years of open work rates. That gives you a really long runway.
4 years is substantial.
It is. It means less immediate pressure to convert to PR compared to some other places. You've got time to find the right long-term role in fields like IT, healthcare, even construction, which is big there. So it's maybe flexibility versus Canada's structured certainty.
Interesting contrast. Okay, moving down a notch to Tier 2, these seem to be countries with fantastic education, but maybe more specific industry ties. Europe comes into focus here.
Definitely. And Germany is always at the top of this list, the hub of innovation in Europe.
The big draw being.
The cost initially.
Right.
Public universities, often free tuition or very, very low fees. That massively cuts your upfront risk, especially if you're looking at engineering, manufacturing, R&D, their traditional strengths.
You're right. Free world-class education sounds amazing. What's the catch? Why isn't everyone just going to Germany? The sources must highlight some trade-offs.
And they do. The big one, the sort of hidden cost, is language. It's unavoidable.
German fluency, right?
Exactly. While you can find master's programs in English, especially advanced ones, landing a really good long-term professional job, particularly in specialized engineering or management roles, you generally need strong German skills.
So if you go without the language,
you're limiting your job pool significantly, probably to larger multinational companies or very specific tech roles. But if you do commit to learning German, the payoff is huge. They have excellent skilled worker visas, massive demand in fields like automotive and AI, competitive pay, and, that famous German work-life balance.
right? So free isn't quite free. It costs language effort. Okay, next in Tier 2, the UK, the academic powerhouse. We know the famous names, Oxbridge and all that. But what's the strategic angle now?
Efficiency and brand, really. A big plus is the 1-year master's degree. That saves a lot of time and living expenses compared to the typical 2 years in North America.
That's a significant saving. And the work visa situation, it changed recently, didn't it?
Yes, huge change. They brought back the 2-year post-study work visa called the graduate route. And the key thing is initially you don't need an employer to sponsor you for this visa.
Ah, so it's open, like the PGWP.
For those first 2 years, yes, it gives you 24 months of flexibility to find skilled work. And it tends to funnel graduates into their big sectors, finance in London, tech clusters around London, Manchester, Edinburgh. It's efficient, high prestige, but yeah, tuition is often higher.
Got it. Okay, that brings us to Tier 3. The sources flag these as offering maybe more niche opportunities, but with potentially really high compensation. Ireland and Switzerland.
Exactly. Ireland, sometimes called the place for tech talent, is interesting. Great schools like Trinity College Dublin, sure. But its real power comes from being the European home for basically all the U.S. tech giants.
Google, Apple, Meta.
All of them. So if you're in software, data science, cloud computing, you're studying right in the middle of your target job market. That translates to very high graduate employment rates and, yeah, really competitive salaries for tech roles.
And high pay is definitely the headline for Switzerland, too.
Oh, absolutely. Switzerland is wealth and opportunity. Their education system is very focused on practical skills, learn by doing, apprenticeships, even at higher levels. Graduates are seen as immediately employable.
Plus a strong economy.
Very strong. World-leading companies, Nestlé, UBS, Novartis, Roche. The pay is amongst the highest in the world. And great quality of life, work-life balance, often cited.
Okay, what are the downsides there? It sounds almost too perfect.
Cost of living is astronomical, seriously high, and getting long-term residency, becoming permanent, is much, much harder than in places like Canada or Australia. It's more for a high reward, maybe shorter-term, focused career play.
Okay, that lays out the landscape really well. Canada, Germany, Switzerland. Different strengths, different trade-offs. But just picking the right country isn't enough, is it?
Not even close.
Let's pivot now, because the sources spend a lot of time on this crucial point. Why do so many bright international students fail to make that transition from study to work, even in these top countries? This is about strategy, avoiding the pitfalls.
Right. This is the critical part. Knowing the opportunity is one thing, navigating the risks is another. The sources consistently point to about 6 common reasons why these study plus work plans fall apart. And honestly, most come down to planning failures.
Okay, let's break them down. What's the #1 killer mistake? You touched on it earlier.
It's the visa mismatch. Simple as that. Students choose a program, maybe based on rankings or prestige, but they don't really check the fine print on the post-study work rights attached to that specific program.
Like the length of the visa.
Exactly. How long is it? Is this specific course eligible? If your program only gets you a 12-month visa, but realistically, finding a sponsored job in your field takes 18 months of networking and proving yourself, oh, you've set yourself up to fail before you even start. That visa length is often your tightest constraint.
Time equals money, or opportunity in this case. Okay, pitfall #2.
Budgeting. Oh, this one is so common, it's almost painful to read about. Students often overestimate what they can earn working part-time during their studies. There are usually restrictions on hours, remember? And they drastically underestimate the cost of living, especially during that crucial job hunting period after graduation when maybe they can't work as much or at all initially.
So what's the concrete advice there?
The sources are super specific.
Well-
You absolutely need to budget for and ideally have saved a minimum of 6 months worth of living expenses after you finish your final exam.
6 months buffer.
Yes, that money buys you time. It buys you the mental space to find the right job, not just the first desperate job to pay rent. Without that buffer, your job search is compromised from day one.
That is incredibly practical. 6 months cash flow post-graduation. Got it. What's failure #3?
Ignoring local hiring norms, thinking your shiny international degree is some kind of universal key. It's not.
How does that play out?
Students fail because they don't do local internships, they don't build a professional network in that country, or they send out a CV or resume that's just wrong for the local market.
Can you give an example? How does a CV differ?
Oh, hugely. Think US, Canada versus, say, Germany or Switzerland. North America. Focus on action verbs, quantifiable results, maybe 1 or 2 pages max. Germany, Switzerland. Often needs more detail, formal structure, maybe even a professional photo, full documentation expected later. Sending a US-style resume in Frankfurt probably gets tossed immediately, no matter how good your grades are. You have to adapt.
Cultural awareness is key, even in job applications. Okay, what about the other pitfalls? There were 6 total.
The others are a bit more external, but still crucial. One is relying on outdated information. Immigration rules change all the time, sometimes month to month. You need current info.
Yep.
Then there's that language mismatch we hammered home with Germany. Your English might be perfect, but if the job needs fluent German, you're out. And finally, picking a super competitive field in an already saturated city, like maybe entry-level finance in London, without a clear advantage, you just make it harder for yourself.
It really sounds like a minefield if you're not careful. So how do you navigate it? The sources had about 13 specific tips, but what are the absolute must-dos? The core checklist.
Okay, boiling it down, number 1, prioritize your main constraint first before you even look at countries. Is budget your absolute tightest limit? Is getting permanent residency the non-negotiable goal? Is your field incredibly niche? Figure that out first because it will filter your options dramatically.
Makes sense. Start with your biggest hurdle, number 2.
Verify, 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 especially the visa stuff. You must check the post-study work visa, details the duration, the eligibility criteria for your specific course on the official government immigration website.
Like Canada.ca, gov.uk.
Exactly. Not just on the university's shiny marketing website or brochure. University marketing teams are great, but they aren't immigration lawyers, and they often present the best-case scenario. You need the official, legally binding rules.
Crucial distinction. Okay, third essential. This ties back to that local hiring problem.
Engage locally and do it early. Building that network is vital. This means finding alumni from your program on LinkedIn and actually talking to them, joining industry-specific student clubs, using your professors, they know the local scene. Don't wait until your last semester. Start networking from month 1.
Be proactive from the start. And the final key point.
Adaptability and proof. Tailor your CV for the country. And critically, get involved in internships, co-ops, volunteer work, significant projects, anything that gives you measurable results you can talk about.
Things you actually achieved.
Precisely. Recruiters hire skills and accomplishments, not just degree names. Oh, and one more thing, tied to time. Apply for that post-study work visa the instant you're eligible, usually when you get your final grades. Missing deadlines for things like the PGWP can be fatal to your plan. No exceptions.
Okay, this is all very strategic. Let's make it real. The sources use a composite case study, Priya, an engineering student heading to Canada. How did she succeed by navigating these risks?
Right, Priya's story is a great example of doing it right. She initially considered top U.S. engineering schools, but she realized the path to PR there was uncertain and potentially very expensive. Too risky for her goals.
So she pivoted.
She pivoted strategically. She chose a specific Canadian program because it had a mandatory 12-month co-op placement built in. That wasn't just work experience for her CV. She treated that co-op, where she worked at 2 different companies, as a year-long job interview.
Smart. So she was building connections and proving herself during her studies.
Exactly. By the time she graduated, Company B already knew her work, liked her, saw her potential. She immediately applied for her PGWP on time, no delays. That allowed her to start working full-time for them right away. And then, using the skilled work experience she gained during her PGWP period, the company sponsored her for permanent residency. She basically used the educational structure and the visa rules as stepping stones, perfectly aligned.
That really shows how planning and following the rules precisely is just as important as picking the right country.
It's absolutely essential. Policy knowledge plus execution equals success.
Okay, bringing everything together then. If someone listening is planning for 2025, focusing squarely on that study-to-career outcome, what's the strategic shortlist? Which countries consistently rise to the top in the source material?
Based on that blend of good education, clear work rights, and potential residency pathways, the sources generally point to a core group. Start your research with Canada for the structured PGWP and clear PR routes. The UK especially for the 1-year master's efficiency and that 2-year graduate route visa. Germany, if STEM is your focus and you're prepared to tackle the language, the value is incredible.
Right, the tuition factor.
Australia, good schools, and that potentially longer 4-year post-study work visa giving you breathing room. And then maybe add the Netherlands and New Zealand to the list, smaller markets, but generally good post-study work rights and specific industry strengths.
That's a solid starting list.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not one size fits all, is it?
Absolutely not. It comes back to those personal constraints. If money is super tight, Germany looks very different than the UK. If you need PR as quickly as possible, Canada or maybe Australia might edge out others. If you're in a very niche field like, say, luxury brand management, maybe Switzerland or France comes into play despite other hurdles. Your field, your budget, your long-term goals, they have to drive the final choice.
That's a fantastic deep dive. Really clarifies the strategic thinking needed. Okay, as we wrap up, let's get super practical. Someone's listened to all this, they're motivated. What are, say, 3 concrete actions they should take, like this week?
Okay, 3 immediate steps. First, audit your top program choices. Go to the official government immigration website for that country and verify the exact post-study visa rules for that specific program. Don't rely on assumptions.
Step 1, verify visa facts.
Step 2, start building that financial safety net now. Map out your budget. You need enough cash flow to cover your final semester, plus that minimum 6-month job search period after graduation. Plan for 12 months, total buffer if you can.
Step 2, secure the financial runway.
And step 3, identify experience opportunities. Find 2 concrete internships, projects, volunteer roles, co-ops, whatever that you can pursue during your studies. Focus on things that will give you measurable results to put on your adapted CV later.
That's 3. Plan for practical experience. Excellent.
And maybe one final thought. As you're doing this planning and you're tracking inevitable policy shifts from sources like the OECD or ICF Monitor, keep Professor Hans de Wit's insight in mind. The countries that combine education with job opportunities will create the next generation of global talent. Think about your decision not just as moving countries, but as actively participating in that global flow of skills and talent that people like Dr. Anna Triandafilidou research. You're potentially becoming part of that next generation. Your study abroad choice is really your entry point, and the planning you do now determines how successful that entry will be.
A powerful way to frame it. If you're ready to make that leap from international student to global professional, the strategic planning, as we've heard, starts today.